Welcome to the second edition of the Pat Dooley Show. I'm Pat Dooley, glad to have you along. We have a special guest later on here in the show. Obviously, the first weekend went very well for the Florida Gators. Great crowd. In fact, you guys surprised me a little bit how loud you were for an opening day. A lot of people have asked me if that was the worst team that's ever come in here, and I will say no, it's not the worst. They have had some high school games on Florida field, so it wasn't the worst, but it wasn't a good team. I thought they were pretty well coached until the end of the first half, and the clock management was just awful. I don't know what they were thinking there. The weirdest thing was Ahmad Black not starting. Last year's leading interceptor, but got beat out, maybe in the doghouse a little bit as well. And Will Hill and Major Wright starting the game. Also, you had some guys suspended, although Urban Meyer said they didn't get themselves ready to play, which is now code for suspended. We know what Norris Jenkins did. What Jermaine Cunningham did, we have no idea. But the Gators got to have a relative healthy. Carl Johnson got nicked up a little bit, but he should be fine. So we're going to come back in just a minute. We're going to talk to our special guest, Drew Copeland from Sister Hazel. I know you know the song. We're going to have him sing it right here on the Pat Dooley Show. All right, welcome back to the Pat Dooley Show. I'm joined by my special guest today, Drew Copeland from Sister Hazel.
Special guest.
Special guest.
I feel honored.
Well, you should be honored. You're only you're following the footsteps of Shelley Meyer. So.
Oh, I am honored then.
Exactly.
All right.
And Drew's like a lot of the Gator fans that jumped on the bandwagon late and with all the championships.
What? Come on, man. I was there for '79. I was there before
'79.
'79.
Any games in '79?
Absolutely. I used to sneak in when the south end zone was bleachers. I used to me and my brother would pull the fence up, and we would sneak in and get in line and sell Cokes or programs so that we could stay at the game. So yes.
Now, when you guys tour and you're at a place like Columbia or Tuscaloosa, I mean, do you give the fans a hard time or do you lay low?
You lay low. But I will tell you this, I don't care where you are, there is Go Gators in every crowd. I mean, somebody's doing a Gator chomp. And occasionally, if things are going a certain way during a football season, I'll let a couple of remarks slide because they'll forgive me. Once we play All For You, it's like all's forgiven. so yeah, I'll let things slide. It's no secret that we are University of Florida grads. I don't bring the Gator guitar on tour, obviously.
I like that guitar.
I know, I do too, but I don't bring that out to like Athens.
Certainly, these guys are unbelievable in concert. If you haven't had a chance to see them go, you got another chance coming up. Is it a coincidence you're playing the night before the Tennessee game?
Absolutely not. In fact, I bother our touring agency constantly about the football season. It never really works out because what would be ideal for us is to play, in Athens or in Knoxville or one of those cities the night before a game.
Right.
But then we got to play the Saturday night too, so it wouldn't work out for me anyway. I'd have to leave. And if we book the shows for that night, you run the risk of it being a night game, and so we've never done that. But the Tennessee
You've missed
game,
a few that way, haven't you?
oh man, it kills me. And I can tell you, there's been many a time when I'm sitting on the tour bus watching the game on satellite that I go, I'm not going on till this is in the bag, And
so it's almost Sister Hazel out there right now. It's wait till Drew will be out in a minute.
Yeah, exactly.
Florida's on the 4.
But this was no mistake. It worked out really well, and the Performing Arts the Performing Arts Center. All the people there have always been so kind to us, and we're excited to come back there. And the show's almost sold out, and this time we are lucky enough. We're staying around. We're going to be at the game.
You're going to the game.
We're all going to the game. We bought. The band bought tickets for the crew and everybody, and I think even some of our management's coming down, and so we're gonna go to the game.
Now wait a minute, you're tight with Urban. Doesn't he owe you some tickets?
No, you know what? I guarantee you, if I asked him, he would get me tickets, and so would Jeremy and all the. I really don't like to ask if I don't absolutely need to.
Unlike me with you, right?
No, but you know what? You don't unless you absolutely need to too.
Right.
So it's a cool thing, and I only wish that some of those guys could come out that Friday night, but you know what it's like the night before a game for a lot of those people.
Absolutely. Now let me ask you this: how did the relationship with Urban begin? Was it just he heard you guys, or you just wandered in and knocked on his door?
I wandered in and knocked on the door and said, "Hey, man, welcome to Gainesville, and here's who we are, and here's what we're about." And I think the funny part is, I think he was like, "Oh, thanks. Put this over here," like hands it to an assistant.
Well, in the early days, that's the way he was with everybody.
Yeah, but he got into the music and liked it, and we stayed in touch, and we crossed paths at a few different functions along with Billy Donovan. We struck up a friendship, and Billy's great. I stopped by and saw Billy just last week, and he may be coming out to the show. And Urban came down and saw a show at the House of Blues in Orlando. It's really cool having that relationship because, like I said, growing up in Gainesville, going to games since I can remember. And I mean, back when Pin Pan Alley was there, and all that stuff. Huge Gator fans. Ken and I both grew up. We bleed orange and blue, and so it's nice to have that. And all the success that we've grown into. It's awesome. And people ask us sometimes on the Sister Hazel website. We'll get questions like Spurrier or Meyer, and my answer to that question is Meyer's success may have taken longer if there wasn't Spurrier. So you can't go either or. I mean, to me, Spurrier took the program and elevated it to a really prominent national level, and then Urban came in after a little down cycle, and continued that, and has taken it on and added so many awesome things for the program as far as the tradition goes, and bringing back old players. I mean, that kind of stuff to me is it makes this place special. It really does.
Yeah, well, speaking of either or, we're going to have Drew do a segment with us later we like to call Either Or. You're going to have to answer some real football questions then.
All right.
But I don't know how many of you read the column I did this summer about Drew and Urban, and how Urban's gotten very comfortable with his setting in Gainesville. And now his quote is on the cover of your album. I'm excited about that. CD, I'm sorry. I'm still old school.
Well, after reading it and having so many comments, I went and checked the iTunes download history over those few weeks, and it went from very small numbers to a large spike. And my management company goes, "Okay, time to capitalize." And so they redid the sticker with Urban's quote on there, and I appreciate it. You're a good man.
Well,
Free tickets.
I was right.
What do you need? Do you need some tickets?
I need 6. I was dealing with 2 of my favorite people, Urban Meyer and Drew Copeland. And you guys have a new CD out. I've gotten it. I downloaded it from iTunes.
Thank you very much.
My iPod. I think Release is the best song on there. I love that song.
Thanks.
Now, I want to know who wrote that song and who wrote some of the others. Which ones did you write? Because I know you all from the band wrote, right?
We did. This album was done differently. We all brought in songs and saw them through from the beginning to end, the pre-production all the way through the production in the studio. It was designed that way. It's the same way we did the holiday record.
Right.
And it made it a really stress-free venture. It was a lot of fun to go in and do it that way, because there was no stress about, well, are you going to like this? Or are you going to make this? It's like, hey, man, you're the captain. Make that song what you want it. It was a lot of fun. Ryan wrote Release.
Did he?
Ryan wrote the breakup songs. And so he wrote Release and Take a Bow.
Take a Bow.
And Fade. I wrote Run for the Hills, I Believe in You, and One Life. So those are the songs I wrote.
I Believe in You, another great song.
Thanks.
It is a really good, I think it's one of their best albums yet. He is going to play something, however, from his solo album. If you haven't received it, bought it, downloaded it, you can do that. It's very good. I've lent it to friends, but always have to get it back. And they've gone out and bought it afterwards. And the song that I used in the piece on Urban Meyer, A Little Like Heaven, is the song he's going to play. So, Andrew, I called him Andy one time. He got really mad on the golf course.
Don't
remember?
like that, yeah.
Don't like Andy. Is going to play for you right now.
Well, it was out on Payne's Prairie where I got my first kiss. There's a schoolyard where we would play as kids. We pulled arrowheads out of Hometown Creek. And when the cops come around, we'd all hide our drinks. Yeah, where I come from, well, it's a little like heaven. And I can't stay gone too long. Where I come from, where I come from, yeah. Well, we could water ski out of Melrose Bay, and we wear flip-flops on Christmas Day. Yeah, and when we had enough cash for gasoline, well, we'd all skip school and go to Crescent Beach. Yeah, where I come from, well, it's a little like heaven, and I can't stay gone too long. Where I come from, There's the old graveyard where my loved ones lie. And the church still stands where I was baptized. Yeah, it's the place I go when I can't think clear. So when my time is up, please bring me back here. Back to where I come from. Is this a little like heaven? And I can't stay gone too long. Where I come from. Yeah, where I come from. Well, it's a little like heaven, yeah. And I can't stay gone too long. From where I come from. Where I come from.
Okay, it's time for the weekly list. You know I like to rank things, so I'm ranking them again. Now, the UAA, which we call the firm, and I do not get along on the subject of the Ring of Honor. And it was my idea. They won't admit it. But 3 years before they decided to do it, I wrote a column how they ought to have a Ring of Honor, and here's the first 4 people that should go in, which happened to be the first 4 that went in. I still think they should open it up. I think they've written way too restrictive a criteria, which was only to let those 4 in, and then Wilbur Marshall when he threw a fit when he didn't get in. So with that in mind, I have the next 5 who should go in. Number 5, Mr. Two-Bits. Come on, man. He's meant more to Florida football than just about anybody. When you think about it, Florida football has been Mr. Two-Bits. George Edmondson Jr., he's retired now. Put him up on that wall. You need him on that wall. Number 4, how about Chris Collinsworth? Good buddy of mine. A lot of these guys are in the, don't forget, Emmitt Smith's in the Ring of Honor because of what he did in the NFL. Well, Chris Collinsworth should be in the Ring of Honor because of what he's done in NFL broadcasting. He's a great ambassador for the University of Florida, and I think he's worthy of being in. Number 3, Carlos Alvarez. I think Carlos Alvarez deserves to be in there, not only for what he did as a sophomore with the Super Softs, but for what he's done since then. He's a great ambassador for the University of Florida. Number 2, this one will surprise you, John J. Tigert. John J. Tigert. He built the stadium. Put him up on the wall. Come on, he built the stadium. Also started the SEC and Grant and Aid scholarships. So you got to put him up there. And number 1, Lomas Brown. Best offensive lineman in Florida history. He can't get in because he doesn't have all these criteria. Put him on the wall. Those are my 5. All right, it's time for our weekly installment of Either Or, and Drew's been nice enough to put his shoes back on and come over here and talk to me. Very nice of you to do that. Hope you enjoyed the song. It's one of my favorites. Either Or is a segment we play here, as you can see right here, black and white.
I like it.
And the first question, Either Or, which team are you buying as being back, Notre Dame or Tennessee?
Although I'm not sure that Notre Dame can beat Michigan, I'm going to say it's Notre Dame. I think that they probably have a little more talent and may do a little better this year. And it's going to come across as them being back more this year because of their schedule anyway. So I'll say Notre Dame.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Tennessee still got obviously all their tough games ahead of them. Nevada was a game I thought they might be able to give them trouble. So I think Notre Dame. I agree with you on that. I think they're closer to back. But the Notre Dame-Michigan loser is going to be in trouble this week.
I agree with that as well.
All right. Which coach would you least like to be this week, Al Groh or Chip Kelly?
Chip Kelly, 100%.
Had a bad day, didn't he?
I mean, I got a grocery list of reasons why. I do have some feelings about the after-game fiasco. That guy deserved to get dropped because he shouldn't have come over and taunted him in the first place. If he had just dropped him and then kind of walked away and gone to the locker room, he wouldn't have been gone for the season.
I agree with you 100%.
But it was after he jacked up his own players and then went like he was going to go for the crowd that it showed a complete lack of control. But that one dude deserved to get dropped.
You'd have dropped him.
I'd have dropped. I might have continued after the one. But did we ever find out what the coach was trying to say to him when he came over? Did anybody ever say? Because that coach was trying to stop him before he even got to him.
Well, that's because he saw the kid say something, and what he said was obviously inflammatory. The word is because in a Sports Illustrated article, Garrett Blunt had said, we owe them an ass whipping.
Right.
That he said, I guess you owe us 2 ass whippings now. And that's what he supposedly said. I never got confirmation on that.
Well, you know what, man? He was asking for
it.
He was asking for it. So him getting dropped was kind of funny to me. And I wish the guy just walked off then because he lost his whole senior career. And I wish there had been a way for him to redeem himself. But, man, they had to act swift and they had to act. Yeah. They had to do what they did. I feel bad. So I feel bad for the coach on that. And then also the fact that the previous head coach is now going to come out of the press box and
the second quarter of the game. I mean, give him at least a half before you start second guessing.
Yeah, man, that's got to be brutal. So that's my
While I
pick.
agree with you in principle, I'm going to go with Al Grove for this reason. Chip Kelly's still going to be employed next year, and Al Grove's not.
Okay.
When you lose to William and Mary, you're in big trouble. He was on the hot seat anyway. Way to come out firing.
Yeah.
And a nice, by the way, nice performance by the ACC this week. Miami and FSU almost bailed them out of it. Which NFL team gets a win this week? The Bucs, who are hosting Dallas, or the Jaguars, who are at Indianapolis?
I'm going to say the Jags at Indy.
Concerns about Indianapolis, the new coach and everything?
I do have concerns, but they've still got a pretty solid core. And the Bucs, it's like it seems very unorganized down there.
It's not pretty. I'm with you on this. I don't think either one of them wins, but if I had to pick one, I'd go with the Jags, just because the Bucs have Byron Leftwich at quarterback, and I don't get that.
Right. Now, you know what is confusing about that is I think Leftwich has some skills.
He does.
But he doesn't seem like the kind of guy that is willing to work as hard as it takes to be at the top of what he's got. Because, man, he's got some God-given stuff that a lot of guys don't have. But it doesn't seem like to me that he takes it that seriously. He's just kind of doing what he's got to do to get by.
Yeah, and he takes, his whole delivery is my issue with him. He takes it back to here to throw it.
Yeah.
You can get away with that in college. You can't in the NFL.
Yeah.
The last one on either or. Whose Heisman chances took a bigger hit this week? Sam Bradford with his injury or Terrell Pryor for wearing Vic on his eye black?
Oh,
nice, huh?
Man, are you kidding me? Where are his people that are looking out for him?
Where's his coach?
Where's his coach?
Yeah. Hey,
I mean, how did you slide in with that?
And then he says, what was the quote afterwards? He said,
"Oh, everybody murders somebody.
Everybody kills somebody. Everybody steals stuff." Really?
What? What?
Yeah, he went off my ballot as an even contender right away. So.
And look, man, I think Vic paid his due, and I'm not against him getting another shot in the NFL. But I certainly am not going to be, especially
glorify
Pryor.
Yeah.
I'm not going to glorify him. And Pryor being in the position he's in now, he's not just a high school kid anymore. He is a role model for people now, and you can't go send that message, So I'm going to say that I'm going to
throw Pryor's off your list.
Yeah,
do you have a vote, by the way, this year?
They didn't. I still haven't gotten my ballot, but
maybe I'll just let you use mine. Okay,
thanks. Maybe I'll get Spurrier. See if Spurrier will let me take his.
He's got one. Timmy's got one. You can get one from Timmy. That's going to do it for either or, and it's going to do it for another Pat Dooley Show. I want to thank my special guest, Drew Copeland, for coming in. I appreciate him. Next week's musical guest will be Paul McCartney.
You're stepping down, huh?
Yeah, well, he's not coming in here. Hey, let's go see what's in Dr. Football's email bag. Before I go, I want to thank everybody for making last week's show a huge success around here. Over 40,000 hits, and I appreciate it. Also, you can follow me now, Pat Dooley, twitter.com/Pat_Dooley if you want to see what I'm saying. But let's see right now what's in Dr. Football's email bag. Michelle Cierney wants to know, Pat, what do you think of the new scoreboards? Well, it's scoreboard for us because the north end zone we can't see from the press box. It's kind of weird. We're over there in the corner, and you can't see the north, but you can see the south. I thought that was spectacular. Hey, for $5.7 million, it should be, but it really looked good. I thought the stadium looks right now as good as it's ever looked, better than it's ever looked, and probably is better than any stadium I go to all year. That's going to do it for the second Pat Dooley Show. I want to thank Drew Copeland, my special guest. What a great job he did. And if you want to send questions to Dr. Football, you know how to do it. DooleyP@GainesvilleSun.com. Until next time, Pat Dooley of the Gainesville Sun saying so long from the Sunshine State.